just a couple of quick housekeeping things. We are as a part of the library program, and by joining the program, you are kind of agreeing to all of the library rules, although I don't think we'll have any issues with that. If you need to get up and move around or grab something to eat or drink, not an issue. Just try to remember to mute yourself, and the chat is open, so feel free to use that throughout the program. And then, like I said, you can chat either myself or Etty if you guys have any direct questions while the program is going on. But outside of that, I think we can go ahead and get started and pass it on to Karissa, who has graciously agreed to host this program. We're very excited to offer it.
Thank you guys for having me. Hi, everybody. Happy afternoon. My name is Karissa. I've been cosplaying since I was a freshman in high school, but I believe I was cosplaying before that, but I didn't know what it was. So how old are you guys here? Are you in elementary school? Are you in middle school? Are you in high school?
I'm in 6th grade. I'm in middle school.
Oh, that's so exciting. I think I actually started cosplaying a little bit of Percy Jackson when I was in 6th grade, so that's very exciting. But I am old. I'm graduated in college now. I'm done with school. So I'm a big veteran of this thing we called cosplay. 3rd grade, awesome, welcome. And 6th grade as well. That's so exciting, you guys. I'm very pleased to see people wanting to get into this at such a young age. But like I said, I've been cosplaying since I was probably about your guys' age. I've been doing this thing, going to conventions now for about 8 years. And I want to teach you guys about conventions, how to get started if you guys are lost on cosplays that you might want to build. And I'll get a little bit into like the business of it, like career paths that you can take, and also the cost of it. If your parents want to listen in on the costs, they can. And I will also give you guys tips and tricks on how to stay safe at conventions, how to keep conventions cheaper, because they can be very expensive. Hi, Sean. They can be very expensive, but you can also make them very cheap, and you can find ways to enjoy yourself without having to spend too much money. So I'm going to attempt to screen share. You guys can take notes. Feel free to ask questions as I go along. I'm going to try not to talk fast. I talk fast a lot, so please let me know if I'm speaking too quickly. I absolutely can repeat myself. I don't mind it at all. Yeah, let me go ahead and get to screen sharing. All right, can you all see just fine? It's taking a moment to load. All right. Let me see if I can. Boop, boop, boop. All right, does everything look good? We all doing great? Cool, cool, cool. All right, you guys. So I'm going to be talking about how cosplay is not just a costume. It's this huge world of different things that you can unlock, and it's very exciting. Very excited to talk to you guys about it. So, is it just, you know, some nerd thing? Can you all see this just fine? Opening the chat as well. Old person question. Can you see yourselves also, or is it just my screen?
We can see ourselves too.
Okay.
At least I can see myself and all of you.
Yeah, are you like in the corner, like can you also see me twice is what I'm trying to say? Like
No, just your screen share.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like block you guys from seeing the thing, because I'm trying to keep chat up, and also sorry guys, I'm old, I guess. But yeah, is it just some nerd thing? I get this question all the time from, you know, adults who don't really know what's going on, people who are kind of a little bit judgmental, and no, it's not. I mean, if you really want to simplify it to that, sure, you can, just a bunch of nerds. But yeah, being a nerd is the best. It is an investment. You get to take your time and create this beautiful thing and interact with all these people who also love the same thing. What's nerdy about that? That's awesome. And being nerdy isn't a bad thing, you guys. Being nerdy is awesome. A lot of best people in the world are nerdy. So, and it is a career path. It is a business. It's a multi-million-dollar industry that you can get yourselves into. Um, I know several people who do this professionally. I am not yet a professional, but I make money off of doing this thing. You can do that. That is something you can do by cosplaying and enjoying things that you enjoy. It is also a business. I'm sure you guys have heard of San Diego Comic-Con, and I will be bringing up San Diego Comic-Con again because that is the mainstream convention that most people think of when you say, "Oh, I'm a nerd and I do cosplay." And that is a multi-million-dollar industry right there. People wait and save, and movies always premiere there. But we'll get to that later. Um, but most of all, it is a vital part of fandom. It is a vital part of enjoying things. If you guys read books or watch movies or enjoy TV shows, being a part of a fandom is so important. And cosplaying is a huge part of that fandom. And I'm very excited to tell you guys about what is cosplay actually? What is this thing that people do and dress up and participate in? Oop, went too far. Let's go back. All right, so what is cosplay? What is this thing that we do? Um, it is the act of dressing up as a character. You can either choose to be an interpretation of a character or a mashup, or you can do something that's called screen accurate, which is when you literally look like the person in the movie or the TV show or the book that you read. The picture that I have here was taken by my lovely friend Kelsey, Art Sortment. He's a fantastic local Chicago photographer, wonderful to work with. And we took this at Anime Central, which happens here in Rosemont every summer, usually. And this is my Winter Soldier Sith Lord costume. Shout out to my fellow Bucky. I really enjoy the Winter Soldier, but I didn't want to tackle doing his arm because it was very difficult for me at the time. So this was actually one of the first builds that I ever made, and I have just improved on it through time. Um, I will actually come back to this and tell you how I went through the process of building everything so that you guys can get an idea of what it takes to build something that looks like this and put it all together. But yeah, cosplaying, it can be expensive. It doesn't have to be. This costume that you see here, thank you, Gus. Um, thanks, guys. Um, this costume that you see here cost about $400, and the main cost of that was the lightsabers. So lightsabers can be pricey, but they don't have to be. We'll get to that. It's also a time commitment. This build here took me months to make. The armor itself took 6 hours just to sand this piece here. It can take much less time, but I like to make life a little difficult for myself. And sometimes when you're starting out in cosplay, it will just take more time because you're learning, and that's okay. You have to be patient with yourself. And it also takes knowledge. Like I said, you are learning this thing that no one really teaches you how to do. Yeah, Disneyland lightsabers are pretty pricey. Mine were from Ultra Sabers. They're not too expensive depending on what you get. Um, but yeah, it takes so much knowledge. I did not know how to build armor when I made this arm, and actually I made it incorrectly. It looks great. But I definitely have learned things on how to attach armor, how to research better, what to Google. It takes a lot of time. And I also just started leatherworking, and thankfully there's a community of people, there's YouTube videos. Now there are so many YouTube videos that you can access to help with your knowledge. Basic sewing, how to make armor. It is a blessing. Back when I was cosplaying, I sound like an old person. Um, it is it was not easy. There was no reference pictures for this arm. There was literally just like a random knight that I found and was like, okay, well now I have to turn this into the Winter Soldier arm and I have to mash it up with Star Wars. So that took a lot of time. You learn how to design costumes, you learn how to make armor, you learn how to sew if you want to, you can make your own leather armor. It's a bunch of different skills that you can access and build and become an expert on if you want to. But yeah, also creativity. You have to be creative. It is a great exercise of creativity. It's a great outlet. If you guys are wanting to build something and you don't know what to do, make yourself a sword, make yourself some armor, do something awesome, and then you have something awesome to wear. Where do you wear it? That is a good question. What do you do now? So you've decided you want to do this thing that is cosplaying. What exactly do you do next? It sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be. Um, on the screen, you'll see, ooh, rubber cement. Yeah, I suggest if you work with rubber cement, wear a mask. It can get a little, smelly. Aerate your house a bit. It can be hard to do in Chicago. It's an obstacle I've discovered to build things in an apartment building, but cosplay does not have to be building. You don't have to build things at all. You can go to your closet. Many people do this thing called Disney bounding. I always talk about this when I talk about what closet cosplaying is, because I think it's one of the best representations that a lot of people are familiar with. Take example, Peter Pan. We all know Peter Pan. He's got a green outfit, he's got a little red feather, he's got a cap. So say you want to cosplay Peter Pan. Go into your closet, you got a green dress, there you go. Got some green pants, there you go. You got a red belt, put that on, get a little cap. You can get a little feather from Hobby Lobby if you want, or Michael's, and put that in your cap. And there you go, you're Peter Pan. And many people in the Disney community recognize that. People who Disney bound Ariel will get like mermaid leggings, or they already have the color scheme in their closet. Once you get going, this outfit that I'm wearing currently is all from my closet. I have just been collecting things over the various years of cosplaying, and soon you'll have a wild arsenal of things to choose from in your closet. Yeah, Hobby Lobby has go to Michael's if you have a Michael's. They're also cheaper and better. The other thing that you can do is go to the thrift store. I am going to be building a build very soon that is sorry, someone's entering the waiting room and I'm distracted. You can go to the thrift store, and a lot of people have just discarded the most incredible pieces of clothing. Yes, the dollar store. I've gone to the dollar store several times to find random pieces. You'll never know what you find there. But I plan on thrifting a very recent show that just came out, Shadow and Bone. I'm not sure if any of you read the books of Shadow and Bone, but I plan on entirely thrifting Jesper. So I have to do research on his coat, his vest, his shirt, everything that he wears. I plan on going to a thrift store, putting it here in a little cart and matching the fabric, and it's very exciting. Honestly, going to thrift a costume is very satisfying, and you walk out with a whole costume for $20. It's incredible. And oftentimes thrifted cosplays look even better than people who have built their cosplays, because the fabric has gone on a journey and it's already lived a life. So you are giving it a second life. That's very exciting, and it gets to go on a little nerdy adventure. You can also go to Halloween stores, Party City, costume shops. If you're in the Chicago or Illinois area, lots of times theaters will have costume cleanouts. Keep an eye on out for that. There are plenty of corsets and Ren Fair outfits that I've gotten from opera houses that are just like, we don't want it, take it, like ball gowns. That's free, completely free, and it's gorgeous. So check that out if you guys have a chance. I don't know any sales that are happening recently. But yeah, they do a lot of those. Estate sales also happen, and you'll find very interesting things there as well. The other thing you can do is commission people. Now, this is a little bit more advanced. I apologize for the beeping. Some people are moving into our building. But yeah, you can commission people, which I'm not sure if any of you have heard of commissioning. But commissioning is when you ask someone who works on a craft to make something for you. So, for example, I plan on doing Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. I am not a sewer. I am not that advanced with leather. Oh my goodness, yay! Shadow and Bone fans. I plan on commissioning him, so I'm going to contact my friend who works really well with leather, and I show her a picture. I say, this is what I want to get done. She gives me a price, and you pay someone to do it for you. Make sure if you are going to commission someone that you contact someone who actually makes costumes, because sometimes, like, I do not make costumes for other people. I have a standard for myself, and some people's standards of building costumes are better than mine, and that is a lot of pressure that I do not enjoy. So I do not make costumes for others, but there are several people out there who do. One that I would recommend is Vicious Frockery on Instagram. They are an incredible cosplayer, and they make incredible costumes, and their commissions, I believe, are opening in a month or two. They work a lot on D&D stuff, Critical Role. Lately, they've been doing some commissions for what is it called? The Hobbit. It's like it's Lord of the Rings adjacent. So lots of different work that they're doing, and you can also do it yourself. Just make it from scratch. If you can't find a clothing item, if you can't find armor that already exists, if you can't find an item around your house, put that brain to work, figure out how you can do it, and do it yourself. That's what I did with, this arm that you see here. I researched how to do armor. I bought the materials, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it, and I did it. Figured it out. Took a lot of time, but I figured it out. And you can do all of the above. I will go back to my Winter Soldier costume here and do a breakdown, because this is a good example of how you can do all of the above. The armor that you see here is bought by Warbler. I then painted it, sanded it, and painted it again. A lot of work goes into making Warbler armor, but I made this myself, completely by hand, completely by scratch. All of the armor that you see is all me. The lightsabers that I have, I'll bring it to the screen if you would like. This lightsaber is from Ultrasabers. It is about $200 each. The lightsaber length is absolutely. The lightsaber length is the length of a normal lightsaber, so it makes it actually larger than what a double-sided lightsaber would be. At its full height, my lightsabers are 7 feet tall. It's very large. And it also has this little connector here that you can undo, and you can separate the lightsabers from one another. Both of these babies were about $200. So that's an example of buying something. You can DIY a lightsaber. There are plenty of tutorials on how to do so. I did not have the patience to do so. And I am also a stage combat artist. So I wanted to get a lightsaber that you could hit and nothing bad would happen to it. So if you want something that you can actually, fight with, I suggest Ultrasabers. Put this bad boy back where it came from. The undershirt that you see on this costume was a long sleeve t-shirt that I cut one of the sleeves off of. And I basically put like Velcro on it and just was like, all right, I'm gonna smack the armor on there and hope it stays. It's been staying so far. There are easier ways to do so. There's this thing called a gambeson. It's spelled like this. And that is how you typically attach this armor. Did not know that existed at the time of this build. The cloak is something I commissioned from a friend, as well as the piece that you don't see, which is like a little skirt wrap that goes around that like Anakin would wear as a Sith. And the corset is from Amazon. It was like $10. So if you buy corsets, make sure that you do a little bit of research. This one's also from Amazon. Do not tight lace in corsets that are from Amazon because it can cause you harm. Make sure that you do extensive research. That's a whole nother panel on corsets if you want to buy them. There's plenty of places to buy them from. I would suggest maybe don't buy from Corset Story. There have been horror stories of people getting injured, but everywhere else, free reign so far. But that is an example of the hair ties are not part of the costume, but I forget that I have hair ties on my hand all the time. Pro tip, take your hair ties off your wrists when you are doing a photo shoot. Alrighty. So that is an example of all the things that you can do to start cosplaying, and there's really no wrong way to do it, I promise you. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know you got that gun from a Halloween store. No one's gonna know you got that sword from a Halloween store. Yeah, Sean's a good example of incredible costumes that are done under a budget. Sean is one of my actual cosplay friends in real life. So everybody say hi to Sean. I'm going to show you my sword that I got from a Halloween store. This is a Halloween store sword. The only difference is there's a little ribbon that I put here, and then I rubbed leather shoe, what is it called? Polish onto it, and then I put these little leather strips on. Just super glued them. They're just hanging out. And then I used model car paint to change the color of the blade, and I spray painted it with that. This is my sword for Nico D'Angelo. So if you guys read Percy Jackson, he is the son of Hades, and this is one of my favorite props because I think his sword is so cool, and this was very fun to make. It even rattles because there's some like plastic pieces in it. But that whole build, that sword cost me like $30. So, all right, you have a costume now. What do you do? Where do you go? What are you gonna do with it? Do you just wear it around your house? You could, but you can also go to conventions. Conventions have been around for a very long time. Conventions have existed since 1939, which is a very long time. The first convention was just a bunch of sci-fi fans who were like, we all love this thing. What if we all just gathered in the same place and discussed it? And I personally think that is still the heart and soul of all conventions that you see today. Many people are just there to discuss and hang out and talk about the things they love the most. And then people started cosplaying. I believe the first costume happened as well in 1939. There was a costume of one of the robots from Metropolis, which is a silent film that shook the world for a hot second. But yeah, there's a robot cosplay that somebody did, and it has appeared at many different sci-fi conventions since then because it is just a staple in the community. You also know about the Trekkies. Star Trek has had a very strong hold on fandom for many, many years, and a lot of sci-fi conventions started out as Star Trek conventions. Now, conventions are these huge, huge events. I mean, there are millions of people going to San Diego Comic-Con every year, and I'm going to bring that up again now. The cons I've been to have been anywhere from 15,000 to 75,000 people, to be exact, and the cons that I have not been to can have way more people that come. So it is not just a little nerd thing. It is something that is a lot of people participate in. A main part of society is going to conventions. I mean, if you think about it, all the Marvel trailers we see come out of Hall H of San Diego Comic-Con, and people line up and wait for days just to get a seat into that room to see the trailer in real life. And there are different kinds of conventions. There's anime conventions, comic conventions, and sci-fi conventions. Those are the three I'm breaking down because those are the three that I've attended. There's also conventions for D&D. If you like tabletop role-playing games, there's a whole convention for that. It's in Illinois. I'm currently forgetting the name of it. But there are several different TTRPG places that you can visit to discuss games that you like to play. You can buy things. There's board game conventions, there's toy conventions, there's so many conventions. If you like something, I suggest looking up a convention and see if there is one for you, and go check it out. Where are these things? These are all the conventions I've gone to. They are all over the United States. Gen Con, thank you. Thank you, Dean. Hi, Dean. Gen Con is a great convention. I have yet to go to it. I was supposed to, and then unfortunately COVID happened. So I hope to go to it soon. But these are all the conventions I have attended. NebraskaCon was my first convention. My friend said, hey, do you want to go to a convention? And I said, what's that? And they introduced me to the entire world of cosplay and took me to my first convention. And it was the most fun I've ever had. And I never looked back. And that was my freshman year of high school. So I'm very excited to see you all here today. Much younger than I was, being able to see how many conventions are around you and the fun that it can be. But these are all the cons that I've gone to since then. I go to these usually every year. Star Wars Celebration was the biggest convention I had gone to. That was the first and only con I've ever gone to that was specific to one thing, and it was an incredible experience. C2E2 is, thank you. C2E2 is our local comic convention. It is actually happening this year in December. So it's going to be a very different environment because it's going to be a little bit chillier, but also everybody's really kind of hoping it's going to be a Christmas con. So maybe people can take pictures and their Christmas cosplays because it's around the holidays and a lot of people like to express themselves that way. It's very sweet. Lodgecon is a yeah, it's very chilly. Lodgecon was a very small convention that happened somewhere in Illinois. Sometimes you go to conventions and you don't remember the name of the town. But it's a very small convention that I went to that they just wanted to have a few cosplayers come out, and they had a couple of tables with comics, and they had panels just like this that you can attend. And it was just a tiny little fun time. I went there with my Game of Thrones cosplay that you see here, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very tiny convention, and it costs like $5 to get into. Speaking of cost of conventions, we will get into that. But yes, conventions usually last from Monday or whoa, that would have been a long week. No, Thursday to Monday. Those are the long boys. Those are the long conventions. Mostly people go Friday to Sunday. Those are the normal hours for a normal convention. I usually go Thursday because Thursday is what you call a day zero. This is when you get the advice that's really advanced of people who have gone to conventions, and this is a preference as you I want you to know that this is a preference, that there are ways to do this and there are options. I prefer to go on Thursdays because those are called day zero. So basically, you travel all day Thursday, you get to the hotel, you get to relax. You don't have to wear a costume. Sometimes I'll wear something relaxing, like this costume. It doesn't take a lot of effort, it doesn't take too much physicality. You can just walk around and be pretty comfortable. You get to eat food with your friends, you get to play board games, you get to meet up with people you've waited to meet for like years. And it's just a nice little calm moment before the storm that is Friday. Friday is when usually the general public gets there. All the doors are open, the convention floor is open, all the merch is out. You could buy stuff on that day. That's the big day. And then I usually stay until Monday because Sunday is the last day of the convention and Monday is exhausting. So sometimes I like to spend that extra night in the hotel to just relax, and then that means you don't have to rush when you check out on Sunday or Monday, and you don't have to worry about checking out on Sunday and carrying around your suitcases all day because that is a big burden. I suggest if you can spend the extra day, spend that extra day Sunday night. It will help you and you'll be able to sleep. um, but yeah, the longest con I had been to was Thursday through Monday, and that was Star Wars Celebration, and the actual convention went from Thursday to Monday. I had to go to class and then go to the convention. It was quite the experience. It was very fun, but very exhausting. So it sounds expensive. It can be. Going to cons, Star Wars is big. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know about Star Wars. I was very educated that weekend on plenty of things that I had no idea existed, and people were really helpful. They were willing to teach me and guide me around and show me comics and different merch, different worlds of Star Wars. It was great. I had no idea that universe existed. But yeah, this list can seem daunting. These prices can seem terrifying. I promise you, if you save and you know when the con's gonna be, it's gonna be all right. Usually, I know about conventions a whole year or a year and a half in advance. Conventions usually don't move around; they usually stay in the same time. So you'll know if you want to go to a big convention like C2E2 and you want to get the hotel, you want to get food, you want to get a bunch of merch. You have time. Usually C2E2 is the same time of year. The only difference is unfortunately we had a pandemic. So many conventions have shifted around. But make sure that you check what conventions you are looking for. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but if you literally just go on Google and type in conventions near me, you will find one. Promise. They are everywhere. Make sure that you go to conventions. Yes, Sophia.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you earn any money from cosplaying?
I do. I have. This is actually my first, if I'm being honest here, first paid panel. So many times conventions will offer you free tickets. They can also offer you hotel and meals paid. There are many different ways that I get paid, and usually I get paid with a free ticket. When I do panels at C2E2, they give the panelists a badge so that you are allowed to enter the con floor anytime. You have access to the food before people. Usually, if you have a panelist badge, people are like, "Go, go, go! You have to, eat." Um, it's it's you can also get. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what life was like before 2020. You can also get tables. I have tabled at many cons, and that is when I offer my time. That is when I offer my education. That is when I offer my skills. And they are like, okay, here's a table, set your stuff up. They feed you sometimes. The best cons I've gone to have fed you. Make sure you get fed. But yeah, then I just sit at a table and answer questions for people. I will usually do a panel if I'm at the convention. The last convention I was at, I sold prints, which is when you take a picture of yourself and then you offer it up and people buy it, which is interesting. But it's just like art. You want a photo of your favorite character, but this cosplayer doesn't fit. There you go. But yeah, I sell prints. You can also have a lot of cosplayers have a Patreon. Sean and Dean are from my Patreon actually, and they pay me to make content for them, and I'm very grateful for them. Patreon is a way that you can interact with fans a little bit closer, and you can be personal with them, and they have first access to a lot of the things I post. A lot of things I post on Instagram are posted there first before I post to the public so that they can see it. Hi, Dean. But yeah, you can make money off of this, and it does help to cut down these prices a lot. Like I said, I know this list seems intimidating, so I'm gonna get into that now so that I can explain how to make things cheaper if you need to. Ticket prices, we'll start there. You wanna go to a convention, first thing you need to do, buy a badge. A lot of conventions have this thing where if you buy it like 4 months in advance, it's super cheap. ASIN used to have this thing where it used to be like $20 to $30 off if you bought it right when the tickets went on sale. And those tickets could be anywhere from $50 right in the beginning to like $80. If you want to buy it the day of, that's going to be a lot more expensive than if you plan ahead and buy it when it's cheap and a discount. You can also choose to go Thursday through Monday, which is, or Thursday through Sunday, the full weekend. Whatever the full weekend is offered for the badge, this is what these prices are. But if you want to go for a single day, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yes, there are discounts for younger kids. You guys take advantage of that, please. There are so many discounts for younger kids. I was not young enough to take advantage of them when I did. Get the discount while you can. It's very cheap. Usually it's like $15 to get into this huge convention because you're a kid. That's awesome. Do it. But yeah, I definitely, these prices are for the full weekend, and as unfortunately an adult. So usually, hopefully you'd have a job and you'd be able to pay. But yeah, the most expensive ticket I had ever paid for was the Star Wars Celebration ticket, and that is the $247 one you see here. That is an outlier to my understanding. If you would want to go to like San Diego Comic-Con, my friends pay thousands of dollars to go there. That is a huge convention. Those are outlier prices. Plan for the way, way, way far future to go to those, but if you have the money now, go for it. Yes, you can get Groupon discounts as well. And if you have a group of friends, get that group of friends together and you can get a group discount. It's worth it. Usually, like, for example, Bristol Renaissance Fair has a discount right now. I'll try that sometime. Bristol has a discount right now that I think if you get like 25 people, you get 25% off. It might be less than that. But that's a discount right there. So just get all your friends together, and even if you're not going together, get the discount. Speaking of getting your friends together to do something, the hotel. Now, when I was a youngin', I used to cram like 6 to 7 children into a hotel room because we were tiny. We could all fit in the queen size beds or we could sleep on the floor. We were built different back then. My joints can't do that anymore. I'm old. I'm only 23, but however, I'm too old to sleep on the floor or in the tub. But you can definitely bring that hotel price way down. Like I said, this is the price for the whole weekend. That is just for one person. Usually when you get a hotel, now I try to get 4 to 5 people in a hotel, and then that brings the price down because you all split the hotel. I also have a blow-up mattress, so I'm fine with sleeping on the floor because I have a blow-up mattress. So people claim beds. Usually I say the people who booked the room get the bed, but there's a bunch of different cultural norms about getting a hotel room and who does what in a hotel room. So make sure you talk to your friends about it, get those friends in early, get that hotel room. It also helps with the experience. There's nightlife in the hotel room. Some of you are too young to participate in nightlife, but there are still people in the lobby that are blasting music, having dance-offs, selling random
There's
merch.
Eddie.
Yeah.
You see her? You see her?
Hi.
All right, I think we're hearing some sound. We're gonna have a Q&A at the end, but feel free to use the chat if you want to share anything. Sorry, Karissa.
You're good. Hi everyone. But yeah, that's the hotel. I could launch into cultural stuff about hotel for a whole nother panel. There's a lot of things that go into conventions and getting rooms and stuff. But travel. I personally try not to travel for conventions because there are so many in the Chicago area. I don't really need to. But travel, obviously, you have to buy a plane ticket. That is the big one. And plane tickets can range from anywhere from like, $50 to super expensive depending on when you buy them. So make sure that you check and make sure you can get the cheapest price of a plane ticket. But what also racks up the price of a plane ticket is your stuff. When I go to a con, I have 2 suitcases, 2 big boys, for my costumes, for armor, for any weapons that I might have. I now have this golf bag that I have for my weapons in case I need to travel with something that's like a sword. Because you have to check those things. You cannot bring them on the plane. Obviously, it's a weapon. Don't do it. Even if it's fake, even that shiny black sword I showed you, it weighs like 2 pounds. It's not real. They knew it was a prop. It was a toy. I still had to check it. And that was an extra $70. That was a really rough lesson I had to learn. Please just go in with the intention that you have to check everything that you are carrying. Even my lightsabers weren't allowed on the plane. They were a bludgeoning object, and even if they were taken apart, you cannot bring them on. Absolutely, Amtrak is incredible. I went to a mini con. It was just me and my friends hanging out, and I took Amtrak, and it was super cheap, and the bags were not an issue. And also, if you have weapons, they're a little less, intense about it because you can just toss them onto the train. But you also want to make sure you have the correct packaging for your costumes. It absolutely is devastating if you get to a con and your costume's been mishandled and it's destroyed. And you can't do anything about it because you're miles away from your home. Make sure you get the correct packaging. Make sure you get bubble wrap and anything you need to protect your costume. And the other thing is you can also ship your costume. You can literally mail your costume to the convention center. Lots of convention centers and hotels have like a FedEx or a mail carrier in the convention center. C2E2 actually has one in their convention center. As you walk in the door, you'll see a FedEx, and a lot of people will be going there to pick up their weapons, massive builds. I mean, people show up as Voltron, so you can't take that on a plane. So they'll ship it. And then you just pick it up and it's waiting for you. I considered nearly shipping my Captain America shield, but it's like 40 pounds and did not think ahead quick enough to do that. The other thing that you'll pay money for, if you choose to, is photo shoots. Now, you don't have to do these things. Life hack, we all have these lovely devices. If you take your phone and you are alone and you don't have any friends, or you want a group shot and you don't want your friend to be absent from it, take your phone, go to video mode, go to the highest setting of video that you can go to, whether it's HD, 4K, whatever, go to the highest setting, set up your phone somewhere and start filming yourself. Pose, pause for a second, move to a different pose, you can check yourself out in the camera, and then when you're done, you can take the video and you just slowly go through it, screenshot it, and then edit out the video part, you got pictures. I've done that a lot over quarantine. It will come in handy very, very soon for conventions and when we all want group photos and we don't have the $30 to $200 to pay a photographer. We all have iPhones. We all have phones that at least have a camera. And if you don't, always ask a stranger. They might take a picture. But yeah, photographers are expensive because you are paying for their time, their skill, all of their editing. They also have to help you pose. Kelsey, my photographer, Art Sortment, is an incredible person helping me pose, and I tip him every time because posing's hard, y'all. Sometimes you have no idea what you look like, and photographers who help you and direct you are really, really valuable to the community. The other thing, now this is, anything that I talk about now are optional. So anything from photo shoots down are the optional options that you do not have to spend the extra price. These are just bonuses that I love to do. Exactly. If you have a DSLR, you can do the same thing. You have little remote triggers that you can hold and hide, and you can also take pictures of yourself that way. Merch is where all of my money goes. It flies out the window. No matter what I do, I sometimes forget to eat because I'm buying art and I'm buying armor. It doesn't matter. It's going to disappear. The price I try to give myself is $400. Sounds like a lot because it is a lot. But when you get there, exactly, you're gonna go a little nuts. You're gonna want to buy everything. There is no limit to how much money you bring from merch. All your money will disappear no matter what you do. I promise you. You can discipline yourself all you want. You're gonna buy something and your money's gonna go away. There is something for everyone at a convention. I buy tea at conventions a lot, and that is now my new vice is getting tea at conventions, and that's a lot of money. And speaking of tea and food/survival. Survival means literally, water, your basic needs. Do you need medication? Please make sure you're stocked up in your medication. Like an emergency happens, now you gotta get I don't know, some Band-Aids. You never know what's gonna happen. I usually have a con kit that I bring that has all these things in it. But food can range anywhere from 10 cents because they might have ramen at the con or free ramen, and please eat the free ramen. Take advantage of any free food that you find. It is a gift. And also, do you want to eat real food instead of ramen? When I go to KatsuCon, I go out to eat. That is my vacation con. They have a wonderful restaurant system it's in the National Harbor, DC. So there's lobster and steak and pastas, and I go wild. That is what I do there. I eat food. The merch, sure, I still get. The food is what I'm there for. So it's all up to you if you want to eat, some bananas and some fruits in the hotel room, or if you want to have breakfast at the hotel or eat the hotel room service. Make sure you have money for food. Do not forget to eat. Yes, Dean. Great advice. That is very important. People at cons are very generous. They will feed you if they see you about to pass out. That happened to me at C2E2. I had forgotten to eat from 9 a.m. until 5 in the afternoon, and I was in line to meet Mr. Liam O'Brien from Critical Role and realized I needed to eat, or I was probably going to pass out because it was too much adrenaline, and I suddenly realized I was hungry. And these lovely people had a bunch of granola bars. So carry snacks on you. You never know who you're going to save. It also helps you when you don't have time to go from point A to point B to get a whole meal. You have I carry goldfish on me. It's my go-to con snack. You just grab a handful and chuck it in there. Keep going. Make sure you have snacks. Very important. And the last thing, this is a huge bonus depending on what convention you go to. There are celebrity meetups. The last time I went to one was C2E2. Here's the evidence of me and Mr. Liam O'Brien. And that cost, surprisingly, not as much as I thought it would. It was about $20, $30 to meet just one celebrity, but I have paid upwards of $120 to meet a... That sounds good. Food con. Yeah, So I mean, some sections have free food where you can just show up and grab like a handful of food and head out. Um, but yeah, celebrity meetups are definitely a very specific thing that happens at specific cons. Once again, a bonus. You do not have to pay for this. Also, pro tip. Pro tip. If you are at the convention, they may or may not just be wandering around like normal people. And just keep your eyes out. Don't be creepy. Please don't stalk people. Respect their boundaries. But that's how I met John Barrowman from Doctor Who and Torchwood. I was walking around and I said, John, he turned around and we had a moment. That is also how I met Billy Boyd from Lord of the Rings. Completely free. It was the best experience of my life. My friend was walking their emotional support animal, and Billy was like, show me that dog. So we brought the dog over and we just talked for 20 minutes. But yeah, sometimes you'll just have an experience like that. It's bound to happen if you go to enough cons. I promise you. There are so many people who just walk around. So if you feel you can't afford to get an autograph, just, keep your eyes out. You'll never know what happens. Don't go looking for them, please don't. But genuinely, sometimes they do just walk around. That is the truth. They're just chilling. But what is the point of all of this? That was so much money that we all just spent. We all went to this convention. What do you do? Like, what's the point of a convention? And it's the fandom, and it's the family that you make, find, and you get to keep, because you make the best friends at conventions. You get to experience this thing that happens for 24 hours, 24/7, for 3 to 4 to 5 days a week. And you are all in this little bubble of wonderful happiness, celebrating this thing that you all love. You can go to panels like this one. Hopefully one day I'll be able to do this in person, and I can bring all these props and you can touch them and play with my swords. And there's art. You get to meet wonderful artists. All this art you see behind me is from conventions, and there are 3 other walls in this room that you cannot see that are covered wall to wall with arts. I also have a huge art book right next to me that is filled with art that I've gotten since day one of going to conventions. And turns out I I do go wild, Gus. Yes, you'll find your thing. I love art a lot. But I had a friend come over who I'd known for about 2 years, and she went, "That's my art." And turns out half my wall was covered with my friend's art, and I had no idea. Um, so yeah, you never know who you're gonna meet. There's also meetups. So if you're a friend of Marvel, there's gonna be a Marvel meetup. You meet all these people who really, really like Captain America, Bucky. I mean, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier just came out, so I'm very excited to see everybody's costumes for that. It's gonna be delightful. And there's usually meetups. You can just go take photos with people. You meet some of your best friends there. You bond over the same thing that you like. There's food. There's great food at cons. C2E2 has ice cream. That's incredible. I love ice cream. They also have churros that are very good. There's merch. Like I said, I spend all my money on art and merch. And that's so exciting. That's so cute. I'm very excited for you. That's going to be great. Yeah, there's merch, all the art that you see here, and this was bought at a convention. A bunch of things were bought at a convention that I'm wearing currently. There's celebrities that walk around, and there are photo shoots, and you guys are a bit young for this, but there are raves and nightlifes for the adults that are in the room. You can go and have a drink with your friends at the bar. You can go to a party. There are actually con like 18 and under parties that you can go to sometimes, depending on what convention you're at. So keep an eye out for that. Do not go to an 18 plus event. They will kick you out, and sometimes they'll kick you out of the whole convention. So just wait. I promise you, it's worth it. Be patient. Your time will come. And usually they do have kid-safe events that are very similar to the adult events, like parties and stuff that you can be safe at. So yeah. And once again, you get to meet the most incredible people. It's been hard for the cosplay community the last year because all of the people that you connected with in the past years are just unreachable because some of them are from different countries. I know plenty of people from Europe that I meet at Katsucon every year, and I was able to go, thankfully, in 2020. It was one of the last things I did was go to Katsucon. And I was grateful for that, but that did not get to happen this year. It usually happens in February. So it's hard not to be able to see friends and the friend you see here in the purple wig is my friend from high school. I've known them since they were in 6th grade, and we only get to see each other at conventions. So that's like once or twice a year. So yeah, you meet people and they'll stay in your life. It's wonderful. You meet some of the best people at conventions. So, yeah, that is everything you need to know about conventions that I can think of. I would love to open up the floor for questions. If any of you have any questions, I can answer any of them. I do have a bunch of props behind me and around me. If you want me to show them to you, let me know.
Feel free to throw your questions in the chat, friends, or just unmute yourselves if you want to ask a question or, you know, standard things we do.
I can show you a little subculture of convention merch. They're called Ita bags. Ita bags? Ita bags? They are basically bags where you can just show off all your pins. And I currently still collected a few pins over quarantine, and this is now my new little obsession. So yeah, 8 years of stuff. This was actually the result of like 2 years of collecting pins. So once you get going, you get going. But a lot of people have these bags, and some people have them of just one character. Some people have them of their Dungeons and Dragons characters. Some people have them of anime characters, whatever you want. It's another expression of yourself that you can have with you on the convention floor. And that is what I pack all of my convention stuff in, like my emergency stuff, my snacks, merch. Is she good in the way that she keeps you from spending money, or That's impressive. That is impressive. We all need one of those people in the convention group. Yes, Sean?
So I've got a question for you about your cosplays. What is the one costume, the one you want to get like absolutely perfect in every way? For me, it's Indiana Jones. Like, you know, I've been working on trying to get the perfect, like, movie accurate to the first movie, specifically Indiana Jones costume. So what's yours?
Aragorn. I've been working on him for a hot second. Not actively, because I've never been able to like fully afford to commission the folk that I need to commission to make him. But specifically, I'm gonna get really specific here. Sometimes you got it with cosplay. I'm doing the screen accurate version of the end of Fellowship of the Ring, where it is right before Merry and Pippin are taken. I'm trying not to spoil the movie in case no one has seen it. Right before Merry and Pippin are taken, when Aragorn talks to Frodo about the ring, and he takes his sword and he faces the army of orcs on his own, that is the exact costume I'm working on. It is before he has Boromir's bracer, and it is before the end of the movie. It is literally like 15 minutes of time, but it's that costume that I want to do. And it's pre orc fight where he gets a cut on his arm too, because I'm not going to destroy a costume like that. But yeah, I have his sword here. I have all of his jewelry. Sophia, they're great movies. I have all of his jewelry, and I have now started the process of speaking to people about how to build this massive thing that's going to take time and money. I saw other hands raised.
Does Sophia have a hand up?
My question was there a costume that you cosplayed that was your favorite out of the ones that you've made before?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I have two. Honestly, my Star Wars cosplay is one of my favorites because you get a lot of young kids who want to play with the lightsaber, and seeing like a 2-foot tall toddler with a 7-foot tall lightsaber, very funny, very sweet. I also really enjoy my bow cosplay because a lot of people in the Critical Role fandom are very sweet, and it's been great to interact with others like that. And I guess I have a third. My Captain America cosplay is one of my favorites as well because I love to carry on the shield. It's about 20 pounds, but I love to carry it around. And it's a lot of fun to interact with other people who also enjoy Captain America and the Marvel fandom. It's a lot. It's a great little fandom. I see you, Sean. And it's a delight to meet other people who also enjoy this thing that you do. And I saw another hand pop up. I do have a question for the audience. How many of you have gone to a convention yet? Wow.
I want to.
I completely understand. It's been quite the ride. Well, my computer did it for me, but I do have a etiquette slide to help those who have not been to ooh, Artemis Fowl. That's super cool. Holy cow, people are celebrating Artemis Fowl. That's awesome. Wow, I love that. But these are very basic convention etiquette skills that you can take with you to your first convention, hopefully when it's safe to do so. This is very basic stuff. Get into more detail as life goes on, but the first thing, first and foremost, is consent. Always ask. Costumes are fragile, even if it doesn't look fragile, it might be. So never, touch anybody's costume without permission or touch their weapon, especially their weapon, because, it could be real. You genuinely don't know. I do have a couple of real steel blades that I'll occasionally bring to a con, and if you were to grasp it, it would probably hurt you. So don't do that. Also, if you want to hug, please just ask. If you want a picture, definitely ask. People have these massive buttons that say this photo was taken without consent that you can get. If you want to also protect yourself, there's no way that a photographer can take a picture of you without getting that in the photo. And then anywhere they post it, they know they didn't ask you for permission. Also, never ask a cosplayer for a picture if they are sitting down or eating something. Sean understands. It still happens. I completely understand. It can be exciting to see a cosplay that you really enjoy, but sometimes cosplayers don't sit down all day or get to eat all day, so give them that moment. Maybe ask when they might be done or if they're willing to, but I suggest just letting them relax for a little bit, and if you see them later, you see them later. Maybe ask them for their social media so that you can find them and message them later in the day, maybe. I said this before, if you are 18, if you are not 18, there's a typo there, if you are not 18, do not go to an 18 plus event. You will be ejected either from the event or from the con itself as a whole, and you will not be allowed back in. Sometimes people get banned for doing this. Please do not do this. That 18 plus is there to protect you. I want you to be safe at a con, and that is there for a reason, I promise. Buddy system always. Always have a friend. Always let someone know where you're going. Always, if you are uncomfortable, go to the nearest person in Artist Alley. Go to a security guard. If you are alone, tell someone, because you want to be safe. And people are there to protect you, and a lot of artists in Artist Alley will protect you. I have done it even in my years. Had to go up to an artist and say there's someone either following me or making me uncomfortable. They can report it to the authorities. They know the proper measures to take to keep you protected and safe. But always have a friend. If you don't, those are the measures you can take to keep yourself safe. But always have a friend. Also, there's this thing called Life 360 that I'm gonna try out next con season, where it's just you can track your friends. You just a little GPS device that's on your phone, and it's an app. So I'm gonna try that in case you get lost, because sometimes it's very hard to find people in a con area. That's interesting. I didn't know there were a Hunger Games con. It's cool. It's fascinating. Yeah, and remember to have fun. definitely be safe and have fun. And if you follow these rules, you're gonna have fun, I promise. It's just everyday life rules, just a little bit more exaggerated because sometimes you forget what's going on. So, yeah. Do we have any more questions? I know that was a lot of talking. Yeah.
So yeah, can I just like take a minute to like say something about like weapons safety with cosplay?
Absolutely, please do.
Yeah, so you should always be extremely cautious with your weapons in and outside of the convention center, because like some things like prop guns, especially, even if it's like this is a children's toy, it's a cap gun, but from a distance, not everyone's going to be able to tell that, even though it's got the orange tip on it. You always want to be extremely careful about when and how you're handling these. If you're traveling into the convention center, you almost always want to make sure that your weapons and stuff are holstered, out of sight, and secured.
Absolutely. If you have a sword, never put your tip up. You will poke someone's eye out, especially if you have a lightsaber. I'll do a little quick demonstration. So if you have this sword and you're holding it like this, where the tip is out like this, someone's gonna bump into you. Always have it either at your hip, holstered, so that people expect there to maybe be a weapon. I usually walk with it up like this, even if it's in a holster, so that it's completely flat and flush with my body. And also, if you don't have a holster, walk with it down at your side like this. Hold it close to you so that you do not poke anyone. This is also, if you ever take stage combat in your older years, that is what you will be taught. Never ever have the pointy end sticking where it can stick someone. It will stick someone. That's super cool. I'm making Thanatos from the video game Hades, and I plan to have his giant scythe be able to collapse and be a magnet to my back so that no one will get poked in the face by this massive weapon. Thank you, Sean, for the quick tip. Usually there will be weapons check at a convention and they'll put a bright colored tie on your weapon so that they know it's fake. If you don't see one of those and you see a gun in the convention, report it, because they need to go check it. And you need to also be safe and make sure that's not a real weapon.
Another thing too is, this is just common sense, but if you're using like a Nerf gun or an airsoft gun as a prop, for the love of God, just make sure it's not loaded.
Yeah, don't have a loaded Nerf gun. Save that for the hotel room. Been there, done that.
I think we are a little past time, Kevin. Is that correct? Which is a good thing, that like we want to keep talking, and like we so appreciate all the awesome ideas and things that you've been sharing with us, Karissa. I just want to throw in our survey for our programs. If y'all could take like 3 minutes to fill this out to give us feedback about this program and let us know what you want from us in the future. That would be super helpful. We can also email it to y'all, so you don't have to do it right now if that's easier. We use this to plan programs like this.
Yeah, and then Etty, did you want to promote anything else that's coming up before we officially end?
Yes, if that's okay. to
Yeah,
go
go
Riverside.
ahead.
So we have another program tomorrow afternoon, same time, same channel. At 3:30, we're going to be discussing Allergic by Megan Wagner-Lloyd and Michelle Mee Nutter for a graphic novel book club. So I know some of you potentially are planning on joining us, but if you are not yet, feel free to register and join us. You don't have to read the book beforehand. We always love to have you join us. And then, so that's tomorrow, Tuesday. And then the following Monday, we have our Meet Our Pets program. So basically, we just will hang out and meet everybody's pets, stuffed animals, plants, lightsabers, whatever makes you happy. So just wanted to promote some of the things that are coming up, but we're so grateful that y'all are here. Let's give a virtual round of applause to Karissa. Thank you so much. This is
Yes,
amazing.
thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. You guys can find me everywhere at, trying to go all the way back to the first one, everywhere at K2_cosplay. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Maybe don't follow me unless you're 18. But yeah, I have a Twitch as well. I'm everywhere. I don't stream a lot, but I might. You never know. But yeah, go ahead and check it out, and hopefully you'll see me at a con soon.
And hopefully we can bring you into our physical library down the line
Yes,
in the near
definitely.
future. Maybe some
Absolutely.
stage combat stuff.
Absolutely. I am actually working on a stage combat class. So
Oh my God, I'm here for that. Once it is safe for us to be in that close proximity doing the thing.
yeah.
Right. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you guys. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.